Rumble, and good morning, hello! Welcome to This Day in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened today throughout the annals of recorded history, starting with, what do we have here for November 13th? Throughout the annals of history. 833, Louis the Pious, king of the Franks, performed the public act of penance at the church of Saint Medard in Soissons. Alright. 1002, English King Ethelred II the Unready ordered the killing of all Danes in England, launching what is known today as St. Brice's Day Massacre. Yikes. Well, pretty sure he was not ready for that. 1093, the Battle of Alnwick resulted in an English victory over the Scots. Malcolm III of Scotland and his son Edward were killed in the battle, however. 1553, English lady Jane Grey and Archbishop Thomas Cranmer were accused of high treason. And isn't Jane Grey or Jean Grey or whatever, isn't she from the X-Men, comic IP thing? Of the whole Marvel cinematic whatever, I don't know. 1565, King Philip II's letters from the Segovia woods rejecting requests to abolish ordinances outlawing heresy reached Brussels. Reached Brussels. So now they know. Okay. And he's refusing requests to abolish ordinances outlawing... Hold on a second. Rejecting the requests to abolish ordinances outlawing heresy. So he wants to make heresy legal, essentially, right? If I'm reading that correctly, I don't know. English is difficult sometimes, even to a native speaker. 1565, Pope Pius IV published decree Professi Fidei. Let's see here. Here we go. Published a decree. So, published. I changed the wrong one. So, let's see here. Let's see what that decree is here really quick. And I'm not sure if the music is loud or if I am loud. But let me double check. I'm not sure. The music could be a little softer, so I'll do that just in case. But let's see here. Pope Pius Professio Fidei Tridentia. Okay. So this is an incomplete thing. Tridentina. In which, what do we have here? Also known as the Creed of Pope Pius IV, is one of the four authoritative creeds of the Catholic Church. It was issued, yada, yada, yada. Is in his bull, Inium Nobis, under the auspices of the Council of Trent from 1545 to 1563. It was subsequently modified slightly after the First Vatican Council, held from 1869 to 70, to bring it in line with the dogmatic definitions of the Council. The major intent of the Creed was to clearly define the Catholic faith against Protestantism. At one time, it was used by theologians as an oath of loyalty to the Church and reconcile converts to the Church, but it was rarely used these days. Okay. So that's something. Let me add this into the underbar section here really quick. So Control New. Holy Memo. So there we go. If there's a new one, I'll just put this. Professi Fidei Tridentina. All right, that's what I'm going to call it. In case we have any more encyclicals or anything, and I want to put links to those. Moving on up to 1642, during the First English Civil War, the Battle of Turnham Green, the royalist forces of King Charles I withdrew in the face of the Parliamentarian army and failed to take London. Yep. I gotta see the movie where they put him, good old Pencilhead here, on court for treason and all that stuff, and they ended up beheading him, I believe. 1673, Christopher Wren was appointed architect for the rebuilding of St. Paul's Cathedral in London by King Charles II. And I was wondering, why was it destroyed? Is this just a remodeling? Is this a full rebuild? Like, what is this? And if anybody wishes to do the research, to answer that question, let us know in the comments section. That'd be great. But let me see. Okay, this just tells me about Christopher Wren. Let's see if this shows me the church here. Okay, so maybe this is here. This one. Oh, this is pretty cool. You can see here there's a false ceiling dome here, and then there's a huge echoey space. I always found open spaces like that very fascinating. You know, like you believe that's the dome right there. That's the ceiling. You know, but the roof is so much more above that. There's a whole attic up there, and I really doubt they use it for storage. You know, you don't want to pile out a whole bunch of weight on the dome that's already, you know, built only to really support itself, not to be used as some kind of foundation for another floor. But yeah. Really interesting. 1715, during the Jacobite Rising in Scotland, the forces of the Kingdom of Great Britain halted the Jacobite rebellion's advance at the Battle of Sheriffmuir, it being led by Scottish Earl of Mar, though his action became inconclusive. This action became inconclusive. That's unfortunate. 1775, during the American Revolutionary War, Patriot forces under General Richard Montgomery captured and occupied Montreal in Canada. All right. 1781, British troops occupied Negapatam, Ceylon, and Sri Lanka. You know, Britain wants, you know, always going around conquering and taking stuff and all that whatnot, you know. 1789, in a letter to Jean-Baptiste Leroy, Benjamin Franklin wrote, quote, "In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes," end quote. And that is incredibly true. Very true. So much so that there was even a very known WoW guild back in the day called Death and Taxes, and you know that's their insignia right there in our thumbnail today. 1789. Any later, we got that one. 1833, the Great Meteor Storm of 1833 occurred. 1839, the first U.S. anti-slavery party, the Liberty Party, convened in New York. All right. 1839, the last bull run in Britain at the Stamford Bull Run ended after 700 years. Well, nothing lasts forever, and, you know, the whole thing about, you know, running with the bulls and bullfighting and all that whatnot, I mean, you know, it had its place in culture back in the day, but nowadays it really needs to go, you know. Barnum and Bailey's folded, there's no really such things as circuses anymore, SeaWorld is under scrutiny, zoos, you know, and all for good reason, you know. I mean, there is something, you know, to seeing, you know, foreign animals in real life, and not everybody can go, you know, to Africa on safari, you know, so zoos, to an educational degree, you know, have some kind of merit, and it's a very difficult decision because you can argue that, oh, blah, blah, the internet, yada, yada, you know, hologram technology, there's, you know, there's that, like, you know, that 3D hologram technology thing with the whales, you know, in that one stadium, like, several years back. That's all fine and good, but to see them in real life, to hear them, to smell them, you know, like it's the real world experience, and zoos really are the closest thing most everybody has to that, at the cost of the freedom of the animal. You know, it's really sad. But I don't know. It's a difficult subject. You know, that's a thing that, you know, the Loon and I talk about quite often. Speaking of the Loon.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I was just going off about the whole concept of zoos and all that stuff. We were talking about the last bull run in Britain as the Stamford Bull Run ended after 700 years.
Bull run?
Bull run.
Huh.
Running with the bulls.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's still a thing in Spain, you know, bullfighting and all that stuff. And then I went on one of my classic tangents. So... Moving on up into 1841 here, James Braid first saw a demonstration of animal magnetism by Charles LaFontaine, which led to his study on the subject that he eventually calls hypnosis/hypnotism. Whoa.
Animal magnetism. So he's talking about hypnotizing animals?
Well, let me look at that really quick, actually. Animal magnetism is... I think I might know, but I'm also might be full of crap. I'm usually full of crap. Animal magnetism, also known as mesmerism, is a theory invented by German Dr. Franz Mesmer in the 18th century. It posed the existence of an invisible natural force possessed by all living things, including humans, animals, and vegetables. He claimed that the force had physical effects, including healing. Well, I mean, it has been discovered, you know, that raw, uncooked vegetables, like, for lack of a better term, scream when you bite into them. You know, they scream when they're alive if you put them into boiling water to boil them and all that stuff. You know, that's why I say, you know, vegans and veganism and vegetarians, they are absolute monsters. Because at least meat eaters ensure our food's dead before we rip their flesh asunder with our chompers.
Wow.
You know, we're more humane.
Okay.
So, am I wrong?
Okay. Yeah, but I get what he's saying.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is
Superficial.
Yeah, so it's just hypnosis, and there is
Yeah.
a thing to it,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
so
Ooh.
yeah. Well, beyond like the
Yeah.
watch and thing. There's the human brain.
Well,
like
they talked about healing factor there too.
Yeah.
Healing
good-
in itself is kind of a miracle.
it is, and like it has been proven that if you need healing and you're in a negative environment, it takes longer if it fully heals at all.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in a good environment, it's done in a jiffy.
Yeah.
Like with humans, with animals, with plants. Like.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, moving on up here, 1849, Peter Burnett was elected the first governor of California.
Peter Burnett, huh?
Yeah, 1849.
Never heard of him. How about that?
That was
okay.
just before your time.
A little bit.
Yeah. 1851, telegraph connection between London and Paris linked. So that, we think about things like the channel and all that stuff. I mean, this is,
Yeah. Yeah.
wired communications, in linked, 1851.
Which is huge.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking and but they're still talking,
You could have just said Morse code.
Well, not everybody knows what Morse code is. So, 1851 as well, the Denny Party landed at Alki Point before moving to the other side of Elliott Bay, becoming the first settlers of what would become Seattle, Washington.
Ooh. So
All
that's
right.
where Denny's was established.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, man.
Jokes aside, though, Denny's started as a donut shop, believe it or not.
Somewhere back in my head, I knew that.
Well, they had a whole thing up on the wall, the Denny's we used to go to.
Oh.
They had big old wall art and
Yeah.
everything. And one time they had like a whole history of Denny's, and they had the picture of, it was just some little shack donut
Yeah.
place, So
Standard donut shop.
yeah. And now it is what it is today.
Whoa,
We haven't been to a Denny's in a while,
No.
but there's one just off of the main street between the hospital
I know.
and here.
I know.
Uh,
I've never been there, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's brand new. We got to go there.
Oh, it's brand new?
Yeah, no, it used to be an animal facility or something.
Okay.
Remember, it was like a veterinarian
Yeah,
office
I didn't
or
know
something?
it just changed hands recently.
Yeah, well, like within the past couple of years.
Okay.
At least.
Yeah.
Anyway, 1854, New Era sunk off New Jersey coast with a loss of 300. Yikes. 1856, the Great Bell of Big Ben first chimed at the foot of the still unfinished clock tower outside the Palace of Westminster.
Whoa,
And
first time.
Now, I'm not sure if that's usual, because you'd think that, a bell tower,
Yeah,
the bell wouldn't ring until the tower was done.
you would think so.
But this time it
apparently not.
wasn't. So it was rung for the first time. It was still outside. The tower was not done. So
But was it hanging in the bell tower or was
No.
it outside?
chimed at the foot of the still unfinished clock tower.
at
So
the
it was
foot.
on the
Oh.
ground.
Now, that shouldn't happen. That
Yeah,
should
that's
be
weird.
up there.
That's
That
weird.
should be up there, and when it's up and hanging,
Then you ring it. Yeah.
then you ring it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I said I don't know if that's common or not, because
And it's on the ground. Did it clink or a clank? Clunk, clunk. Hey, Big Ben.
Let liberty ring. 1861, a letter was written by Reverend Mark R. Watsonskin petitioning the Treasury Department to, quote, recognize Almighty God, end quote, on American coins. The department eventually decided on the motto, quote, in God we trust, end quote. And you were around when there was a whole hoopla about putting that on, and now you're around where there's a whole hoopla, and I was around too, with a whole hoopla around it taking it out,
Yeah.
So, actually, no, that was the under God part of the Pledge of Allegiance,
That's
not
it,
that
yeah.
this. That's something else.
I was hesitating whether to correct you or not. Yeah, that was the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, that was a biggie. They stuck
Yeah.
it in. Now they've taken it out. They've taken it out, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Which, well, if they wanted this country to be damned by God, look around you. I think they got their wish. 1864, the new Constitution of Greece was adopted. All right. 1865, U.S. issued first gold certificates. Pretty good. IOUs. 1868, the American Philological Association was organized in New York. What is philological?
I don't know.
Copy. Hold a second. V. There we go. Philology. is a study of language in oral and written historical sources. It is the intersection of textual criticism, literary criticism, history, and linguistics, with strong ties to etymology. Etymology itself being the study of the origin and evolution of words, including their constituent units of sound and meaning across time. Philology is also defined as the study of literary texts and oral and written records, the establishment of their authenticity and their original form, and the determination of their meaning. A person who pursues this kind of study is known as a philologist. In older usage, especially British, philology is more general, covering comparative and historical linguistics. So it's language history and all that stuff. This is the American Language Association, I guess. That's pretty cool. 1875, Harvard-Yale game became the first college football contest with uniforms.
Huh.
So I wonder, like, they just, like, went out on their, like, you know, date clothes, like, you know, like what you and I are wearing. They just got, you know, like a family backyard football during Thanksgiving thing, you know? Like,
well, they may have had football stuff, pads and stuff like that, but they weren't uniform.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they even had pads, because the whole helmet thing is, you know, wasn't until, like, what, the 60s, 70s?
Oh, no, way before then.
Before then, they had, like, you know...
Leather. They had helmets, but they were leather.
Well, they provided some padding, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but also, 1875, the National Bowling Association was organized in New York City. So, all right. So, that's really interesting. The study of language before bowling. Cool.
That's a ways back.
Yeah.
I didn't know bowling went that far back.
Oh, bowling is believed to be, I believe, the very first sport or something. How old is bowling? Let's look this up here.
There's different types of bowling too.
Let's see here.
We're talking 10-pin here.
Well, it says here, though the origin of 10-pin bowling is often attributed to the U.S., it's circa 1810, pointing from Ipswich, England, shows outdoor bowling with 10 pins.
Ipswich, England.
I
like Ipswich.
Ipswich.
I like that name.
Yeah. So at least 1810 then, I guess.
Yeah.
So, 1887, Bloody Sunday clashes in central London.
Ooh, that doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't sound good at all.
I'll look that up here really quick. Bloody Sunday. 1887, alright. It was an event which took place in London, England on the 13th of November in 1887 when a crowd of marchers protesting about unemployment and the Irish Coercion Acts, as well as demanding the release of MP William O'Brien, clashed with the Metropolitan Police. The demonstration was organized by the Social Democratic Federation, and the Irish National League. Violent clashes took place between the police and demonstrators, many armed with iron bars, knives, pokers, and gas pipes. A contemporary report noted that 400 were arrested and 75 people were badly injured, including many police. 2 policemen being stabbed and 1 protester bayoneted. Jesus. Fuck.
Good
What
Lord.
is that? Well, I mean, you know, when the government
But apparently
doesn't...
no deaths, huh? They would have mentioned that right off of the injury, so yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So 75 badly injured, all sides, but there's no deaths.
Okay.
400 are... So that's good, but I mean,
Wow,
you know...
That's something.
You know, but see, you know, like, people... You know what? Like, it very much like the byproduct of zero tolerance. Everything. Nobody sees the bully. They only see the victim standing up for themselves. And who do they punish? The victim. They see, you know, when society gets to a point like this, where they have mobs and protests, they are the result of a problem. They are not the problem.
That's the whole point.
But then everybody goes after the protesters.
For whatever reason, and I can't speak for this event, but you're there frustrated. You're angry. You don't know. You're at wit's end. What else are you going to do? So it blew up.
Exactly. Moving on up to 1900, Baltimore Orioles, now the New York Yankees, entered baseball's American League. All right, well, happy birthday, Yankees. Cool.
Wait. The Baltimore Orioles.
Now the New York Yankees.
That can't be.
It says it right here.
I know. Okay. I've never heard that they were originally the Baltimore Orioles.
New York Yankees, original name, New York. Let's just look this up here. New York Yankees. The team was founded in 1903 when Frank Farrell and Bill Devery purchased the franchise rights to the defunct Baltimore Orioles. No relation to the current team.
Right, obviously not. Okay, so they did come from Baltimore then.
All right. So the IP didn't.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
1901, Caister lifeboat disaster claimed lives of 9 lifeboat men off the coast of Norfolk, England. That's a lifeboat. You're not supposed to die in a lifeboat.
Hence the name, life in a boat.
I mean, like,
not a death boat.
For however stupid this sounds, I have to agree with Peter Griffin during that episode where Death tried to take him. Oh, you can't kill me in the living room. It's a living room. You know? I mean, he has a point.
You're not kidding.
1902, Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad was first published in 1 volume. It was previously serialized by William Blackwood in Edinburgh. All right. 4 years later, 1906, C.W. Gregory out for 383 as New South Wales made 763 versus Queensland in record cricket innings by an Australian.
I knew it was cricket. I just knew.
Like, it's just like, this isn't making any sense.
Yeah.
But it's English.
I hear the words. I understand the words.
It's cricket. Damn it.
You put words that do not belong together.
1907, French cyclist Paul Cornu flew the first twin-rotor helicopter.
Ooh.
Ooh, 1907.
Twin rotor. That's got to be one in the tail, one in the top.
Yeah, for stabilization.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that there was a twin-rotor aircraft, helicopter in 1907,
yeah.
but apparently there was.
Apparently so.
Like, hold on a second. I don't think I even looked for a picture of this. The Cornu helicopter. Oh, wow. Oh, it's one of these. Okay, so it's not stabilization. It's like a Chinook.
Oh.
So, yeah, you see that? See,
They're both on top? Oh,
it's a twin rotor.
At each end?
Yeah, it's like a Chinook.
Okay, yeah.
So, okay. So the stabilization thing didn't come till later. You know, I was shocked if that was, figured out by 1907. 1907 as well, the Conference of Central American States convoked, I don't know, 1907. Convoked, yeah, so that's what it says here. Convoked in response to the war between Honduras and Nicaragua, met in Washington, D.C. to promote unification. So they're having some kind of squabble over there. 1909, 259 miners died in a fire at St. Paul Mine at Cherry, Illinois. Yeah, mining,
Dangerous deal.
Very dangerous, we can always refer to that as the actual wage gap right there, They just move numbers in ways that benefit certain narratives, but you don't see many women out in the mines, do you? Dangerous job.
Yeah.
So, 1909, Ben Simpsons of Hamilton Tigers kicked 9 singles in a 14-4 win over the Argos at Rosedale Field in Toronto. Wow.
What, 9 singles? What
kicked 9 singles.
Kicked 9 singles.
Oh, I guess that's football.
Yeah.
Or soccer. 9 singles. I mean, it's not like...
I don't know what that means.
Soccer, I think, right? It's not cricket.
No.
It's not rugby. It has to be soccer.
Rugby. It could be rugby.
Do they kick in rugby?
Yeah, of course, through the goal.
Okay. I don't know anything about rugby.
Maybe it is. I don't know what 9 singles means, but there's got to be something besides one if they're calling out singles.
Hamilton Tigers. You know what? Let's just look up this team name here really quick.
It's got to be rugby.
Hamilton Tiger Professional Ice hockey. Ice hockey.
Way off.
Wow. 1909, Collier's magazine accused U.S. Secretary of the Interior Richard Bollinger of questionable dealings in Alaskan coal fields. What's going on there? I'm not going to look up every single thing.
No,
I gotta keep going.
Yeah.
If anybody can tell us more about that, once again, comment section, that'd be greatly appreciated. 1916, during World War I, Prime Minister of Australia, Billy Hughes, was expelled from the Labour Party over his support for conscription. Man, remember how easy it used to be to get rid of politicians? You screw up once and the people, you're out. None of this impeach crap, none of this, we have to go through 75 years of bureaucratic red tape. Afuela.
So, what it sounds like, the people got pissed that he was
trying to
drafting people.
Well, see, here's the thing. The government decides that they go to war, not the people, and then suddenly the people are the ones being sent over to die. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, no conscription. Up yours.
Yeah.
1917, during World War I, the First Battle of Monte Grappa began, known in Italy as the First Battle of the Pave. The Austro-Hungarian armed forces, despite help from the German Alpen Corps and numerical superiority, will eventually fail their offensive against the Italian army, now led by its new chief of staff, Armando Diaz. So yeah, this was after Italy switched sides.
Yeah.
Joined us, and then all of a sudden they were winning. Strange. 1918, Prince Friedrich, last reigning prince of Waldeck and Piedmont, abdicated. Okay. Normally I wouldn't care about abdications, but this was the last one. So closing a book on history with that, that's pretty powerful when you think about it.
Yeah, true enough.
1918, Russia canceled the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. I told myself to look it up, but I just do not have the time. 1918, Stahlhelm was formed, an anti-communist /Polish/French in Magdeburg. So it sounds like a type of government or something. So, 1918 as well. During World War I, Allied troops occupied Constantinople, also known as Istanbul, which was the capital of the Ottoman Empire. So that's, that brought them out of the war. You lose your capital, you're kind of done. You're going to say something?
No.
Okay. 1920, the Hudson River froze at Albany. Ooh.
Got cold.
Yeah. 21, U.S., France, Japan, and the British Empire signed a Pacific Treaty. It's pretty interesting. U.S. and Japan makes sense because they're in the Pacific.
Yeah.
But then France and British, because of, their colonies and everything, it's just like, it's just weird to think, that little island, over in Europe, 20,000 miles away, there's like a little freaking dirt plot somewhere, and there's a British flag on it.
Yeah.
What the hell? 1922, the United States Supreme Court upheld mandatory vaccinations for public school students in Zoot versus King. I do not agree with this because, let me read this. Abuse of power. That should be a state decision. Furthermore, if parents do not wish to vaccinate their children, they are a threat to nobody but themselves. What's the point of mandatory vaccinations? It makes no sense.
Well,
if they did their job, you wouldn't have to mandate them, now would you? Smart people would use them, and dumb people would die off. Darwinism, survival of the fittest, let the less intelligent stupid themselves off. Simple. But why are they now mandating putting stuff in our kids? What kind of stuff? That's, why are they mandating that children have to go to school? Parents can't afford private school, so they have to go to public school. And now the government that tells them that they have to have schooling provides the very schooling. That's a little self-serving. What is all this crap?
Well, that's a twist in the wind. I'm not going to go there now.
I do not support the government in any way. So, afuela, afuela, afuela. 1927, the Holland Tunnel opened to traffic as the first Hudson River vehicle tunnel linking New Jersey to New York City, also becoming the first twin-tube underground automobile tunnel. So cool. Yeah, twin tube. So not just one, but two purpose-built for the one lane of traffic going each way.
Yeah.
1931, Hattie Caraway, a Democrat of Arkansas, appointed the first U.S. Woman senator as the first. I almost said first as foist. It's like, oh my God, what am I going to Boston? I'm not walking out the quad dog. 1933, first modern sit-down strike by Hormel meat packers in Austin, Minnesota.
Hormel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
They go pretty far back.
Yep. 35, anti-British riots in Egypt. What are the British doing in Egypt? Oh, stealing everything. So.
Well, they used to rule the country.
Yeah. So. 37, NBC formed the first full-size symphony orchestra exclusively for radio. Now that's interesting.
Oh, no kidding.
It's not something that just went around and toured. No, this is radio only.
Yeah.
Purpose-built thing. So, 1938, America's first saint, Mother Frances Cabrini, beatified. All right. Nice. 1940, one of my favorite movies of all time, Walt Disney's animated musical film Fantasia, starring Leopold Stokowski, a very, very renowned composer, the Philadelphia Orchestra, Mickey Mouse, and ballet dancing hippopotamuses, among other animations, premiered at the Broadway Theater, New York City, on the first night of a road show. Road show, man, I forgot those existed. Can you imagine back in the day before all that stuff, you went and you took the show on the road?
So this was theater, not the actual movie being made.
No, this was a movie.
Okay.
Animated musical film.
Okay.
But,
That's what I thought it was, and then I got lost with
but they
The
went
Broadway thing.
Well,
It
opened up,
premiered in the Broadway.
yeah,
theater.
you know,
Okay.
because before movies, before all that stuff, it was the theater.
Yeah.
Broadway at one time was the cultural epicenter of our entire country.
Yeah.
You know, now it's I would say that Chinese theater out here in Hollywood.
Grauman's?
Yeah, with all the stars of fame and everything. You know, the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah. Maybe for theater, but not.
Well, movies, theater, anything.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, maybe for movies, but not for theater.
Is there any place?
New York's still the hub for theater.
For theater, yes.
Live theater.
But I'm talking about like with modern technology, with movies and all that stuff.
It's out here now.
Theater is its own
Grauman's-
little pocket.
Grauman's is.
I'm talking about when theater was the big boy.
Yeah.
So 1941, U-81 torpedoed British aircraft carrier HMS Ark Royal near Gibraltar, which sunk the following day. No.
Yep.
Now, you think about like Europe, and you don't really have a lot of aircraft carriers. Like.
No.
It's kind of weird. So, 1942, during World War II, U.S. and Japanese ships engaged in an intense, chaotic, close-quarters surface naval fight during the Guadalcanal campaign. This is also known as the Sea Battle of Friday the 13th. Oh, what a date to have a battle. Whoa.
So that was in Guadalcanal?
Guadalcanal, yeah.
Okay.
And this is why I utilize multiple sources. On this one, that's all we had.
Yeah.
Like, all this other stuff. 1942, minimum draft age lowered from 21 to 18 in the U.S.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they
It
lowered
was
the...
always 18.
No. It was 21 apparently to 18. And then later on, after people, really got fed up with the bull crap, they lowered the voting age.
Yeah.
Well, it should have been a whole thing,
When I turned 18, I couldn't vote. It was 21.
Yeah. Well, like, that was around the time, like, you went through that, you lived through that change.
Yeah.
Because you had friends who got drafted who couldn't vote, and that's bullcrap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that was the whole point.
Yeah. So, for Vietnam and all that stuff. Oh, speaking of that, we're going to be talking about that memorial. 1945, Australian services drew first victory test against India. That's cricket.
Cricket.
Yeah. 46, first artificial snow produced from a natural cloud in Mount Greylock, Massachusetts. Artificial snow.
From a cloud, though.
Yeah, well, from a natural cloud. So
they seeded it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked it up, actually. Hold on a second. Let me just bigger this here. Right here, you can see that was a picture attributed to. So it's creating a cloud and then it rains.
Okay.
So, yeah. 1947, the Soviet Union completed development on the AK-47, one of the first proper assault rifles. Well, I would say the SEG-44, would be the first, but the AK-47 is still around to this day.
Well known.
Like, it was named after Kalashnikov. Like AK. I don't know what the A stands for, but it's the Kalashnikov 47. 1947.
Okay.
There is an AK-48, and a 49 and stuff, I think, or AK-50, I'm not sure. Or maybe a 60, I don't know. But it's still 40, made in 1947, that's 53 years plus 24. So what's 53 plus 24? 78? 80?
Oh, well, no.
80.
When was it, 47?
47.
76.
76 years. And they're still using it to this day.
Yeah.
They plateaued. 1950, General Carlos de Lagio Chalba, president of Venezuela, was assassinated in Caracas. Yikes. 50 as well, U.S. won first World Championship bridge contest. Cool. And, they're not building bridges. It's a card game, a bridge.
Cards. Yeah.
1952, false fingernails were first sold.
Now they're everywhere.
Yeah, and actually what's really interesting, though, is this picture here. That is actually the advertisement for them from 1952. That photo. From what I read on the title when I was fishing for images. So that picture was, that's nothing recent. That's from 1952, an advertisement for false nails.
And today, if you have fingernails that look like that and they're real, other women will be in awe of them. Wow, how did you do that? Because everybody does acrylic.
Yeah. Well, that's because, women don't punch, they claw. So, yeah. 1954, Great Britain defeated France to capture the first ever Rugby League World Cup in Paris to around 30,000 spectators. So not only did they defeat France, but they defeated them on their home for the first one.
Yeah.
That is a kick in the face. Man. 1955, first live telecast from non-continuous foreign country, Havana, Cuba. All right, so Cuba's broadcasting live.
Yeah.
Cool. 1956, U.S. Supreme Court ruled race separation on buses in Alabama laws to be unconstitutional, thus ending the Montgomery bus boycott. All right.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Now, that was started with Rosa Parks, right?
Yes. I don't know if this incident ties to her, but yes, she started the whole thing on the bus. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Rosa Parks.
So I think it is her.
Because like Rosa Parks, after that, I think she and Martin Luther King got together. Martin Luther King was already doing his own thing, you know.
That I'm not sure about. But the Rosa Parks thing, see, you know, it was mostly blacks and mostly poor, and they happen to be black, are riding the bus.
Yeah.
So they did a boycott, so nobody's riding the bus, and they're costing them tons of money all of a sudden.
Hey, gee, you know.
So.
Yeah. You take this. It's Nicole. Moving up to 1958, New York City Mayor Robert Wagner announced plans to begin a new baseball league called the Continental League to fill the void created by the city's Giants and Dodgers moving to the West Coast. All right. I'm going to have to go on back to that when Loon gets back. We just got a call right in the middle of the show. Sorry about that. 1959, the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields' first professional concert took place in London. All right. 1960, a fire in the movie theater killed 152 children in Amud, Spain. Jeez. That's awful, man. 1964, Bob Pettit of the St. Louis Hawks became the first NBAer to score 20,000 points. All right. I'm going to have to highlight that as well. So, 1964, Pope Paul VI gave up the jewel-encrusted gold papal crone, donating it to the poor at a service in Rome. This is what we need in more modern popes. I'm pretty sure Pope John Paul II, did things like this. I'm not sure exactly what he did, but he was a great guy. Popes need to give back. Not just spiritually, but physically. You have that magnificent palace full of gold. Why? Why are you trying to be flashy? Isn't that ungodly to be gaudy like that? Live within your means, Vatican. 1965, director Kenneth Tynan said the word "fuck" on BBC. Whoops, that's not good. 66, U.S. comedian Flip Wilson made his debut appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. He returned 10 more times. All right. 1966 as well. In response to the Fatah raids against Israelis near the West Bank border, Israel launched an attack on the village of Es Samu. Sounds like when they napalmed entire communities in Vietnam. Just point and say shoot. I don't know. 67, National League owners okayed an American League expansion to Seattle and Kansas City. And I want to, come back to my comment about this and all that stuff. I understand that, ne'er-do-wells and stuff utilize innocent civilians as cover. But at the same time, just going in and mowing entire villages down ain't going to solve the problem. It's only going to make more of it, 1968, as a rookie, future Baseball Hall of Fame forward Elvin Hayes scored 54 points in San Diego Rockets' 122-120 win over the Detroit Pistons, a career high. All right. 68 as well, William Craig, Home Affairs Minister, banned all marches with the exception of customary parades in Derry, Northern Ireland. The exception of customary parades meant that loyalist institutions could parade, but civil rights marches could not. Well, that sounds incredibly oppressive right there. You don't need to plug that back in. Don't worry about it.
Well,
okay. Anyway, is she okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back here really quick because there was a couple things I wanted to read for you here. Let's see here. 1958, New York City Mayor Robert Wagner announced plans to begin a new division league called the Continental League to fill the void created by the city's Giants and Dodgers moving to the West Coast.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, let's see here. Oh, I accidentally clicked on something. Okay, I got that one. Well, that one's awful. 1964, Bob Pettit of the St. Louis Hawks became the first NBAer to score 20,000 points.
Oh, he's a great one. Bob Pettit.
Pettit.
Yeah.
Okay. 1965, director Kenneth Tynan said the word fuck on BBC. Oh, no. So that's not good. Then we also had 66, U.S. comedian Flip Wilson made his debut appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he returned 10 times.
Oh, geez.
So, but yeah, let's see here. I think we were right here, 1967. Actually, no, we were right here, 1968. I'll reread this for you. William Craig, Home Affairs Minister, banned all marches with the exception of customary parades in Derry, Northern Ireland. The exception of customary parades meant that loyalist institutions could parade, but civil rights marches could not. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, jeez.
You know, and this is, and the people why, the Irish got all pissed off and started bombing all the British government institutions. Because you were taking their freedoms away.
Yeah.
Stop it! 1969, Vice President Spiro Agnew accused network TV news departments of bias and distortion. Okay, and it's funny because on our main source it's back to back, but I have one here. I'll do it back to back here because I can't. 1969 as well. During the Vietnam War, anti-war protesters in Washington D.C. staged a symbolic march against death. So that's from my other source. Everything. So anti-Vietnam stuff.
Yeah,
you were in there.
Yeah.
But this is what I was talking about back to back. 1970, U.S. Vice President Spiro Agnew called TV executives impudent snobs. So he's accusing, like in 69 on this date, he accused them of bias and distortion, and exactly 365 days later, he calls them impudent snobs. Yeah. Oh man, dude.
He's a sleazeball.
Yeah, he was. I mean, look at him. He looks like a freaking guy who would try to sell you some BS. So. 1971, the Bahola cyclone, a 240-kilometer-an-hour or 150-mile-per-hour tropical cyclone, hit the densely populated Ganges Delta region of East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, causing an estimated 500,000 deaths in one night. We covered that yesterday. So, depending on where you were on the planet, time zones. So, I mean, right now it's the 4th, in Australia and many parts of Asia. It's already tomorrow. Yeah. So. 1971, Mariner 9 became the first man-made object to orbit another planet, being Mars. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 73, the Oakland A's Reggie Jackson won American League MVP unanimously.
Mr. October.
Yep. Great ball player. 74 as well, Dodgers Steve Garvey won National League MVP.
Yeah.
Too bad he didn't win Senate this year.
Yeah.
I voted for him. So. 77, final Al Cap comic strip of Lil Abner, 1934 to 77. So this was it. I've heard of Lil Abner.
Yeah, it's a comic strip.
Yeah. Really?
No, I'm serious.
79, British newspaper The Times resumed publishing after 1 year. Wow, they had a hiatus.
Yeah.
79 as well, Ronald Reagan announced his candidacy for U.S. president in New York City. Hey, just saw a movie yesterday about that. Saw the Reagan movie again, for Alice.
Oh, good.
And she hadn't seen it, so we saw.
Did she like it?
Oh, she loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great. So I gotta say, I have two favorite scenes in the movie. My absolute favorite scene, as I said, was when he's like, "How can I talk to them if they keep dying on me?"
Yeah.
Yeah. But from a content creator, from an editor. From someone who appreciates the work into creating movies and podcasts and all that stuff, near the beginning, there's that scene, it's a transition, they zoom in on the camera lens, and in the camera lens, they play the actual footage that camera, being portraying, was filming. That's the historical footage of Reagan, getting shot outside of that building.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah. That was good.
Miraculous transition, great, great imagination doing that. That was fantastic. 1980, U.S. spacecraft Voyager 1 sent back first close-up pictures of Saturn during its flyby. You know, that's what we have here.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We were talking about the rings, you know, yesterday.
Yeah.
82, here we go. Vietnam Veterans Memorial opened in Washington, D.C. After a march to its site by thousands of Vietnam War veterans, it featured the names of over 58,000 U.S. soldiers killed or missing in the Vietnam War. And I know people who knew people who went there. So.
Well, I know I have a friend that's on that board.
Yeah, that's...
I looked his name up.
Yeah. At least, you know, he will always be remembered.
Yeah.
You know, if that's, you know, if that can be a silver lining. So, 1982, WBA lightweight champion Ray Mancini beat South Korean challenger Duk Koo Kim by technical knockout in 14th round in Las Vegas. Kim collapsed, falling into a coma, and died 4 days later. As a result, WBC shortened title bouts to 12 rounds. WBA and WBO follow in 1988 and IBF in 1989. So across the entire board of boxing, you know, because like we talk about it all the time, like, you know, you're in there 3 minutes around, you're moving, you're jabbing, you're ducking, you're dodging, you're hitting, you're smashing.
Try to do it just for 3 minutes.
Yeah, and then,
1 round. Good luck.
And didn't we cover something like last week of 24 rounds or something crazy?
I don't
like,
remember.
Absolutely nuts. But yeah, like technical knockout, not even knocked out, but whatever a technical knockout is, like, you know, unable to continue the fight.
Yeah.
You know, you're done. 14 rounds.
Yeah.
You know, like, and
15-round championship.
Yeah. But it killed somebody. It killed a professional.
Yeah.
You know. 84, David Lefty found his first comet. Okay, or Levy. All right, whoever that is, maybe he's a notorious comet finder. I don't know. 84 as well. Renee Sandberg won the National League MVP award. Right, Riley Sandberg. He was highlighted. I'm not sure if he's anybody you know. So
don't recall the name.
I don't know. 85, Dwight Gooden, the youngest 20-game winner, won Cy Young Award. Yeah, he was good.
Really good.
I really wish they could find a better picture of him. He looks
Could
so
have done
angry.
something better than that.
You know, he looks so angry. Like I feel like a fist is gonna like fly out of my computer screen any second. 85, Nevado del Ruiz volcano erupted in Colombia, melting a glacier, causing a lahar, which is a volcanic mudslide. Well, I mean, you know, melting a glacier, that would do it. Burying a marrow, killing approximately 25,000 people.
Jeez.
Buried a whole town. Like, well, now you know not to live by a volcano, you know, next to a glacier. I mean, you know what? It's easy to look back and say, what were you thinking? But what were you thinking? You know? 85 as well. Xavier Suarez was sworn in as Miami's first Cuban-born mayor. I found that particularly interesting.
Yeah.
You know how a lot of Cubans are down there?
A lot of Cubans.
Yep. 86, U.S. President Reagan confessed weapon sales to Iran. That's pretty interesting. It's on the exact anniversary of his inauguration.
Oh.
Yeah. Didn't we just talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. 86, the late breakfast show incident led to the death of 24-year-old Michael Lush and the show cancellation. What was the late breakfast show incident? I'm going to look that up here just out of curiosity. So, let's see here. Late breakfast show. Tragedy of 1986. All right. Involved a regular citizen named Michael Lush falling to his death while training for the stunt of the show. Many asked how this happened and why there weren't more safety. So it was a lack of safety measures.
Yep.
Oh, that would do it. Oh my God! Do you see the
doc?
Do you see the pop-up that just popped up?
Yeah.
Great Scott! You mean you haven't joined yet? Sign up and start reliving the '80s. Well, no, I was 3 when I wasn't even 3 years old when the '80s ended. So no. I'm good. 1987, the year I was born. First condom commercial on British TV. Maybe as a warning against future me's. So, it's like, see this child? See this Aoxander?
Wear a condom!
Wear a condom. Prevent a tragedy. 1987, Sonny and Cher performed together for the final time, singing "I Got You, Babe" on the Late Night with David Letterman, NBC. That's a song from Groundhog Day.
Ah.
So, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
1990, in the New Zealand seaside town of Aramonana, David Gray shot dead 13 people in the Aramoana massacre. He was tracked down and taken out by police the next day. Taken out means, so, yeah. 1990, Saudis attacked U.S. for rights, or not attacked, Saudis asked U.S., but big difference.
Yeah.
Saudis asked U.S. for rights to bid on SPR, Strategic Petroleum Reserve, crude. I don't know about that, man. So, 1981, bomb destroyed Dutch Labour Party politician Ad Costo's house in a failed assassination attempt. He survived, and in a famous image found his cuddled cat. You know, I'm going to look this up here really quick and see if I can find this famous image. So he found and cuddled his cat, actually, is what I meant to. Okay, Well, I'm not seeing the image. Of course, we have the Trump one here. So, alright, well, if anybody can find this image, somehow give me a link or something, or maybe we can connect on Discord. I can't seem to find this. So, I could probably search for it more refinedly, but we got to keep on going. 1991, the Republic of Karelia, an autonomous republic of Russia, was formed from the former Karelian ASSR. Alright. That sounds like the fall of the Soviets right there. I think it's about the right time. Oh.
Yeah.
And it's a republic. You know, it was formed from the former ASSR, so USSR, something SSR. In 1992, the High Court of Australia ruled in Dietrich versus the Queen that although there is no absolute right to have publicly funded counsel, in most circumstances a judge should grant any request for an adjournment or stay when an accused is unrepresented. I don't know what that means, but it sounds important. So I put it in there. That's from another source. It's not even on our primary source here. 92, Runnick Bowe won the undisputed world heavyweight boxing crown with a unanimous points decision over Evander Holyfield in Las Vegas. This was the first of their 3 meetings. So they would go on to have 2 more fights.
Yeah.
1993, we have a 7.1 seaquake east of Kamchatka. Seaquake, so, you know, watch out, tsunami. 94, Sweden held a referendum in which voters agreed to join the European Union. Alright, so they weren't asking to join, the EU was asking them to join, sounds like.
Read that again, then?
Sweden held a referendum in which voters agreed to join the European Union.
Okay.
You know? And actually, on our primary source, it just said Sweden agrees to join the European Union.
Okay.
So,
well, the other one's a little more definitive. It sounds like the people voted to
yeah.
join.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, that's why I have other sources to add more context if there is such. But Sweden, the government of Sweden, is supposed to be the representation of the people.
Right.
So if Sweden agrees, the people agree, as it's supposed to be. So, 94, title contenders Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill famously collided on lap 35 of the season-ending Australian Grand Prix in Adelaide. Schumacher won his first F1 World Drivers' Championship by 1 point from Hill. Okay. Crikey. 95, GoldenEye, 17th James Bond film release starring Pierce Brosnan for the first time, as well as Robbie Coltrane and Judi Dench as M. Or Dench. Judi Dench? I don't know. So, but hey, you know, really good movie.
Deutsch.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Deutsch. 1995, Mozambique became the first state to join the Commonwealth of Nations without having been part of the former British Empire. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, so they weren't like a former. You know what? I have to. Like, now it's in my head. Damn you. Ronnie. Ronnie Deutsch. Let's see if I can find it. Ronnie Deutsch being a Deutsch? No. What is this?
Help us settle this debt for Omni.
No, that's not it.
Hold on a second here.
Let me help you settle your IRS tax bill.
Call them.
That's it.
You deserve a fresh start.
Dang. I'll look for it later, but we got to see that afterwards. Anyway, 1996, as part of the Great Internet Mezzanine Prime Search, GIMPS, it's not a good name, project, Joel Armenga discovered the undertaking's first mezzanine prime number, 2 to the power of 1398269-1, the 35th known mezzanine prime, a number with 420,921 digits.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
That's totally over my head.
Cool. Over mine too. Like 1997, the United Nations pulled out arms inspection inspection teams from Iraq. That was worded weirdly. So they pulled the arms inspection teams out from Iraq.
Yeah.
So, okay. 1999, Toy Story 2, directed by John Lasseter, starring Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, premiered in the U.S. Great movie. So, too bad it's Disney. 1999, Lennox Lewis defeated Evander Holyfield in 12 rounds by unanimous decision to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. But he's no Ernie. Do you remember Ernie?
Ernie?
Yeah, from Pete and Pete. Ernie, the strongest man in the world.
Don't remember.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, 2000, Philippine House Speaker Manuel B. Villar Jr. passed the articles of impeachment against Philippine President Joseph Estrada. So they impeached somebody in the Philippines. That's pretty cool. Wait, it's not Ernie, it's Arnie, I think. Arnie. Arnie, the strongest man in the world. Like, this is some 90s nostalgia here. Here we go.
The ball!
1 second.
Take
This guy.
this!
He's fighting a little ball for some reason, but, you know, 90s Nickelodeon show, what do you expect? But you don't remember that guy? From Pete and Pete, the two redhead kids?
I'm trying to. It looks somewhat familiar, but I just can't place it.
Well, let's see here if I can find an image just really quick. You know.
Just move on.
Okay. This guy. Oh,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Anyway, 2000 as well, the Beatles released their compilation album One, 2001 Billboard Album of the Year, and launched their official website, thebeatles.com. All right, so you know, this is when they got on the internet. 2001, Colombian singer-songwriter Shakira's fifth studio album and first English-language album, Laundry Service, was released. Yeah, I find that, you know, really intriguing. Like, you know, like I knew, but I had forgotten that she was not, you know, native born. You know, so she's a Colombian.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting because, you know, you talk about like people, you know, coming over from the, you know, other, you know, countries, immigrants, all that stuff. They tend to, you know, do the less desirable jobs. What does she name her first album? Laundry Service. Oh, hey, you know, that's pretty funny, kind of, you know, in its own little way. 2001 as well, Doha round, the World Trade Organization ended a 4-day ministerial conference in Doha, Qatar. So, I don't know what's going on there, but World Trade, you know, these global Carl Schwab people. So, 2001, during the War on Terrorism, in the first of such an act since World War II, U.S. President George W. Bush signed an executive order allowing military tribunals against foreigners suspected of connections to terrorist acts or planned acts on the United States of America. All right, well, yeah. 2002, Eminem released single Lose Yourself from soundtrack of 8 Mile, first rap song to win Academy Awards Best Original Song. And also first successful rap song by a white guy. I don't know, maybe. Like, but yeah. Lose Yourself, you know, very, very, you know, culturally significant song. You know, if you only had, you know, one chance, one shot, would you grab it or let it slip? Like, you know, unfortunately, Eminem is part of not really the woke culture, but he's part of the system. He was part of the people. I think he's on the Diddy list. So, yeah. 2002 as well, Iraq disarmament crisis. Iraq agreed to the terms of the UN Security Council Resolution 1441. All right, cool. 2002 as well, the oil tanker Prestige was not allowed to dock during a storm off the Galician coast, causing a tank to burst, resulting in the vessel sinking, submerging fully on November 19th, all the while eventually leaking 63,000 metric tons of heavy fuel oil, more than the Exxon Valdez oil spill. Isn't that the one in the Gulf, you know, with the deep bore, whatever the fuck it was called?
No, I think that was up in Alaska.
Okay. Still, you know, just let them port. You know, like,
and why didn't they let them port?
I don't know. Like, you know, we'll let the audience you know, look that up and all that stuff. But I mean, that's just so stupid. You know. Like, if anything, they probably didn't let them pour because they didn't want, the heavy winds to cause the ship to hit something and damage it. So they'd rather just have a 63,000, metric ton oil spill, because that makes sense. 2007, an explosion hit the south wing of the House of Representatives of the Philippines in Quezon City, killing 4 people, including Congressman Wahab Akbar, and wounding 6 others. Yikes.
Jeez.
So that's not going to be the worst. We have something awful in Paris coming up soon here. 2008, equity research by Deutsche Bank stated that Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines should not experience a recession, despite potential harm to economic growth from falling commodity prices and possible weaker exports. And then we have a couple 2008 recession stuff here. That was around the bubble.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But we have here 2009, Germany's growth of 0.7% in the third quarter helped lead the Eurozone out of the recession after providing overall growth of 0.4% in the same period, with the whole European Union growing 0.2%. It is reported today, and that's it. That's all from my article I have right there.
Yeah.
Reported today what? I don't know. Anyway, then we also have the Netherlands in 2009 officially exited the recession after experiencing 0.4% growth in the third quarter, but recovery for the Netherlands still remained fragile as the country was highly dependent on exports to maintain the recovery. Moving on up, 2010, Australian rock band Powderfinger performed their last concert at the Brisbane River Stage. A Powderfinger, huh? It sounds like, you're giving a rim job to a donut or something.
Sounds like explosives to me.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that. Of course, my fat ass thinks about powdered donuts before explosives. I am such an American. God bless America, home of the donuts. 2012, 3 Syrian tanks entered the demilitarized zone of Golan Heights. What are they doing there? 2012 as well, a total solar eclipse of the heart occurred in parts of Australia and the South Pacific. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
2013, 4 World Trade Center officially opened, so that's the address, that's the building,
Yeah.
So, 2013, Hawaii legalized same-sex marriage. All right, cool. 2014, Chandra Bahadur Dangi, the world's shortest man, met the world's tallest living man, Sultan Kozan, at an event in London for Guinness World Records Day.
Oh,
So right here, we have the world's shortest man and the world's tallest man.
Yeah.
And we have just been rejoined by the Lost Rat King. Welcome back. How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Oh, well, man. How are you?
Doing a little better.
Good. Going to move on up here to, okay, this is what I was talking about here. 2015, Islamic State operatives carried out a series of coordinated terrorist attacks in Paris, including suicide bombings, mass shootings, and a hostage crisis. Locations ranged from bars, restaurants, the National Football Stadium, and a Bataclan music venue. In total, 130 people were murdered, making it the deadliest attack in France since the Second World War, ISIS claiming responsibility.
Yeah, I remember
Jesus!
that. I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah.
2017, the first Barbie doll to wear a hijab modeled on Olympic fencer Ibn Muhammad unveiled in New York. And that they picked a weird, 2 years 2 years after that, it kind of seems like the West surrendered, So, 2017, Italy failed to qualify for the 2018 Football World Cup, the first time since 1958, after playoff defeat against Sweden. All right, so, not every,
They didn't make it.
Yeah. 2017 as well, world's earliest winemaking uncovered from the Karmas Didi Gora, Georgia, in clay pots from 6,000 BC, around 8,000 years ago. 8,000 years of wine, guys.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun time.
Yeah.
2018, Amazon announced 2 new corporate outposts at Queens, New York, and Arlington, Virginia. They're spreading like the virus that they are. 2018 as well, 4 members of a family were arrested for the Woden family massacre, where 8 people were shot south of Columbus, Ohio, back in 2016. And justice takes some time, but yeah. 2018 as well, Sri Lanka's Supreme Court blocked President Mahathiripala Sirisena from dissolving parliament. Sri Lanka, like, there was some kind of family that really screwed the entire country. Like, they somehow bled the majority of the country's coffers dry and then skipped.
Really?
Yeah, they robbed the country. And I think that's maybe what this guy was part of, because, you know, he was trying, you know, the Supreme Court blocked him from dissolving parliament. Like, that's really good.
Yeah.
So, 2018, trial of Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman began in New York. He was charged with drug trafficking, money laundering, and murder. So, probably among many other charges, you know.
Great escape artist.
Oh, yeah. But that was the one thing El Chapo feared was the U.S. penal system, because he knew that he could not get out of our hands.
Yeah.
Like, once we got you, we got you. You know? Californians know that very well. 2019, first day of public testimony in Donald Trump's impeachment inquiry held in Washington, D.C. You know, that's just having this just documented just as how much they went after this guy. You know, not that I support him, you know, just like I tend to argue sometimes that they go after him as a way to build up more support for him, because everybody loves an underdog. Yeah. If they really hated him, they would not give him any airtime. You want to kill something? Don't talk about it. Why do you think all the left does is talk about racism? So, 2019, first day of public testimony. Oh, got that one. 2019 as well. Rediscovered painting Lucretia by female Barcu artist Artemisia Gentileschi, sold for $4.1 million to the Getty Museum at auction in Paris. Money laundering. So, 2019, a South Korean girl South Korean girl group Blackpink were the first K-pop group to have a single reach 1 billion views on YouTube with what the hell? Hold on a second. This sounds like somebody suffering from a stutter.
Sounds like their song.
Yeah, well, it's the name, but like, yeah, I just want to hear it for half a second. Huh. Sounds like trash. Anyway, 2019, Venice hit by worst floods for 50 years due to a very high tide with waves in St. Mark's Square, killing one resident. Wow. And you know Venice, it's a floating city.
Yeah.
So, 2020, Kylie Minogue became the first woman to top the UK album charts over 5 consecutive decades with Disco. All right. Cool. 2021, Germany recorded its highest number of daily Kung Flu, aka China virus cases, amid warnings of fourth wave could kill 100,000. Fear-mongering, agenda-pushing, propaganda, lunacy.
So that's 21. That sounds like they were behind us.
Well, the whole world was just doing the same thing all across the board, you know, so... 2021, the Glasgow Climate Pact agreed to COP26, committed countries to a phase down of unabated coal and deforestation by 2030 and cut methane emissions by 30% by 2030 as well. Yeah, good luck. 2022, 4 Idaho University students stabbed and killed in their home in Moscow, Idaho. Once again, what the hell? Why is there a Moscow in Idaho?
Yeah, I remember that.
Suspect, I'm not going to name him, arrested 7 weeks later. I don't want to give him any fame. Yeah. Screw that guy. Let him die to history. 2022, the Divya Hotel in Miami Beach, Florida, built in 1957 and hosted JFK, the Beatles, and Frank Sinatra, was imploded, having been closed since 2017 due to an electrical fire. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. Some history.
Yeah, they brought it down.
Yeah. And last but not least, 2023, just last year, Kenya held its first national tree planting holiday, aiming to plant 100 million trees, part of a climate change initiative to plant 15 billion trees by 2032. You know, I'm not for all this, like, you know...
Hey, plant away.
Climate change crap, but, like, hey, plant a tree.
Yeah,
you want to know? You want to know why I use Acacia? You know, here, like, read this right here. Look, it says here... 219,033,352 trees planted by Acacia, and 89,462 or 89 million whatever dedicated to climate action. You know, not climate change, not global warming, not global cooling. Like, we are doing things. There are better things that we can do. You know, so why not do them?
Well,
that's
look
what
they
Ecosia
did in our town. We now have a red grove.
Yes, yes. But see, Ecosia specifically, every time you do a search on the search engine, a little bit it contributes, like somehow like it equates into planting a tree. I don't know how they do it, but see that's why they say 219 million. Every time I search on this Ecosia, I add to it.
Cool.
Screw Google. Screw Google. So you don't see them planting any trees. You see them crying about climate change, but are they doing anything? No. Anyway, that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar in the description below for any links that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis, and we can only bring you a portion. Check our sources for more. For your dose of Passive Events Daily, we stream every day, or at least try to, at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 Eastern Standard Time, respectively. We do have other shows from history to news, movie reactions and reviews, gaming, videos and memes, Omni Kitchen, and everything else in between on Talk Show. Check the underbar. For all of you and all of us, I am Mayo Xander.
Golden Loon.
And Lost Rat King.
Yep, and you are you. Thank you for joining us. Until you catch us next time, whenever it is, wherever it is. We might do King's Entertainment tonight. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, until you catch us then, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Gonna stop that.